Welcome to the fourth episode of the New Moon podcast and the final episode for the year of 2022. I'm your host, Ali Marchand, and sitting next to me is the one and only Sandro Cazzato. Welcome, Sandro.
Hi, Ali.
Hi. Sandro is a coach and sales expert who managed to grow a team to over 45,000 people in just 16 months. All across Europe. Sandro has learned so much on his journey towards success, and this podcast is just to help share the lessons that he's learned along the way in hopes that it might inspire you. Last month, we talked all about sales, marketing, what it takes to build a successful business. It was a really great episode for anyone who's interested in becoming self-employed or is just a very self-driven person. So I highly encourage you to go back and listen if you missed that one. This last episode of the year, I want to dedicate to just figuring out what went well this year, what could go better next year, and where you're at as this year comes to a close. We'll do that by hearing what Sandro has to say about goal making, reflecting, and all of that. Sandro, are you ready?
Of course, I'm ready, Ali. Thank you for this very nice introduction, as always. Yes, indeed. So it was an amazing year, 2022. When I reflect about this year, really trying to think what we could do better, because it was really at the top. But I know myself, there is always stuff to improve, always things that I wasn't like 100% satisfied. So of course, there will be also things for 2023 to achieve and to be improved.
Of course. I want to start with maybe sharing some of your wins from 2022. Could you share 2 to 3 specific wins that you experienced this year?
Yes, of course. So there are a few, actually, because as you know, 2 years ago, I was in a completely different space. The fact that I learned to swim quite quickly in this new world of network marketing is for me already a big win. I try to stay always grounded, even though the results we achieved as a team are impressive, also in comparison to what other people do in this profession. The biggest win is, of course, that we were able, I say we because it was, of course, teamwork. We were able to manage such a big quantity of people, even though we didn't have experience in managing so many people in the past. I come from an experience where I managed approximately 80 employees, but leading 45,000 is something else. I'm very proud of how we did this, especially because we did it with quality. It's like something sustainable that we are building. So that's for sure one of my biggest wins, being able of managing so many people with a certain quality. That's number one.
Amazing.
Number 2 is the fact that I decided to do what I love. Working for money is one thing. Working because your heart is telling you that you're doing the right thing is a completely different level of satisfaction. Money becomes, for me at least, just an indicator of how good I am in what I do. And usually when you do it with passion, you do it good. You know, and for me, this is really something that I'm proud of myself. That I want to thank me for listening to what I wanted to do with myself, with my life, with my profession.
Yeah.
And to just confirm what I just said, that when you do something with passion, with heart, you do it good. It brings me to the win number 3, which is I just came back from Las Vegas last week, and I was at the biggest event of our whole profession, which is network marketing. And I was very proud to be there on stage and being awarded as one of the $1 million Hall of Fame members, and this after only 2 years.
Incredible.
That's just the proof of what I just said, that as a team we did like an incredible job. We did it the right way. We are still at the beginning. We are improving. My motto is progress is perfection. We will never stop progressing in what we do, because there is always like some room for improvement. When you are when you have a high level of auto-criticism, then you are a bit strict with yourself, which is good, because this pushes you to become better, to become faster, to become stronger. And I think as a leader, this is one of the biggest responsibilities that I feel on my shoulders. I'm quite hungry, so my team shouldn't be afraid that I'm thinking of relaxing soon, because we have so much work to do. And as I said, it's just the beginning.
Yeah. Wow. I love all of that. Just to recap your 3 wins. First one was managing such a large team and growing it so fast, even throughout this year. I mean, that's incredible. Second win was the fact that you actively chose to do something you love, and the money became second to choosing to do something that you love to do. And the third was going to Las Vegas at such a big conference and being recognized. And that just pushes you to work harder, right? The work is never done. But what I do love about what you said is, as this year comes to a close, everybody's already focused on New Year's resolutions and, looking forward. But I think it's so important to stop and reflect and celebrate what you did well, and recognize that you're not at the same place that you were at the beginning of the year, no matter who you are. And just to feel that kind of progress. Like you said, progress is perfection. So it's so important to stop and reflect and celebrate.
That's for sure something I need to become better at, because the word stop, it's somehow not part of my vocabulary. You won't find it. I think that after these 2 amazing years, it would be good if I would reward a bit myself with stopping just for a few days, and allow myself to reflect on what we achieved. But also, I'm not such a big fan of taking a break. But sometimes when you really push hard, and we were pushing super hard the last 2 years, especially the last few months, because we broke every possible record of our company. Not only this, on level of the entire industry, we are writing history right now. So it's I feel that it's the right thing to do, to just stop for a second and to reflect, to do like this,
pat yourself on the back
once. Exactly. But on the same time already being projected on what's the next year and what there is to take.
Yeah. And what do you think contributed to those wins this year? Was it your daily planning? Was it your communication with your team? Was it specific books that you read? What are some tools or practices that you think helped contribute to those wins?
The fact of the daily planning, this is not something that I started with that just when I started with this new thing. It's something that I was doing already before. I think what had the biggest impact on me, on what we achieved, is that unconsciously my people helped me to shape my character and become a bit softer in how I see the things. Before this experience, I saw either you're black or white. There is no gray. There is no what we say emotions, feelings. For me, in a professional context, there is no space for feelings, for emotions. I learned still to stay objective, to try to disconnect myself emotionally from decisions, from all the things that really matter, where you don't want to put emotions in to really make like a good decision when you decide. One of my mentors, he said, it's good to lead with emotions. Exactly, it's good to lead with emotions, but let never emotions lead you. And this is something that I really learned and applied during the last 2 years. But I still have to thank my team that they showed me how I could become a little more easy. I mean, the fact that I'm sitting here with the hoodie recording a podcast is also a matter of going a bit back to what I was before I started my career, my IT career. Because back then it was just suit and tie, and I think the content of the message that you want to bring to people is the same. It doesn't matter if you're in a hoodie or with a suit and a tie. That makes you even like more reachable.
Absolutely.
And I think this is one of the biggest components that it was my team that helped me to become even better.
I love that. It's almost as if listening is one of the most important parts of leading, right? Because you could have the most important things to say, but if your team doesn't think that you're listening to them and doesn't give you kind of guidance on what they need, then how good of a leader can you really be, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Absolutely. And I think just as important as celebrating your successes is maybe recognizing some places that you could be better next year, maybe. So could you share with us some, maybe 1 to 3 examples of what you or your team could do better? It could be specific failures, or it could be just recognizing where there's a bottleneck in your team. It could be many things.
Yeah, there are in fact many things we will work on. One of the things is like one of the positive aspects that I already said. Our team is huge, and when you grow so fast, you tend to do things the same way like you did it when we were just 1,000 people. The fact is, it's not possible because you need to prioritize your time. Time is the most valuable good that we have. And if I think that I am still doing tasks that I was doing when I was just leading 1,000 people, this shows me that I need to upgrade also my entrepreneurial mindset, start delegating more, start hiring people who do things for me, where instead I should put my time on more important tasks where really my brain is needed. So 2023 will be upgrading and improving the whole setup of the organization, also the whole management of the organization. It's funny that I talk about it because this is exactly what I was coaching on my team during the last weekend that we spent in Barcelona. We had there an amazing experience with the top managers of my team. And we spoke about attitude. We spoke about $1 million mindset. We spoke really about things, how I suggest them to set up their organization to be ready, because sooner or later these people will also have 45,000 people in their team, and when you have 10, 15, 20 managers like this, then soon you will understand that we are going in the direction of 1 million people. And to lead 1 million people, either you have the right setup. I'm talking here about a social media manager or even an agency who's working with you. I'm talking about 1, 2, or 3 assistants. I'm talking about photographers, videographers, because we are in this industry where appearance and image play quite an important role. So these are all things that we want to improve for next year. And since we are expanding massively in the entire European market, we have new languages that we are onboarding, means, having coachings ready, presentations ready in several languages, and so on and so on. So there is really many things we are working on. If I should remark on one thing, is above all the mindset of thinking like a very big organization. That's the most important thing. That's
okay.
it.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot to do in the next year then. 2023 sounds like it's going to be a big one for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, as I said, we have now the big masses, and now we need somehow to shape the whole environment to offer like even better service to all.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. I think delegating is one of the hardest things about being an entrepreneur or working for yourself, is that you learn to do something and you learn to do it well. And then the act of trusting someone else to do it, or delegating tasks that you've always done in the past, to me has always been one of the hardest things to learn.
It is.
But it is what keeps you at a certain level of success. There's a ceiling. There's only so much you can do.
That's it. There we need to just to pay attention, because you cannot expect the same level of quality that you deliver, but there is no 100%.
Yeah.
And that means you need to be patient and give people also time to grow into this role. This you can do with some techniques and some plan do review sessions. And I think everybody deserves a chance to become something as a leader. You just need to be patient to show them how, and to give them like constructive feedback.
Sounds like you're a good leader. And can I ask you maybe what a personal failure was of yours in 2022? And I don't mean failure as in it was the worst thing that ever happened to you, but just an experience or something where it didn't go as you planned and it taught you something.
I completely missed out of keeping the balance.
Mind, life, work balance.
I mean, I never experienced something like this where I felt such a big satisfaction in what I was doing, And I'm honest with you, sometimes I forget to eat. I sleep like 4 hours during the night. It's nothing, but I wake up the next day with the same energy like I went to bed the night before. So and when you are in the state of pushing, you lose a bit what's around you. I'm talking about family, about your hobbies, your needs. I mean, I was a person who used to go to the gym every day for at least 1 hour a day to eat healthy properly. In the meantime, I lost weight. I eat what I have to eat. It becomes completely different, because you develop different priorities.
Yeah.
And this, okay, calling it failure is maybe a bit too much.
Yeah.
But I forgot to take care of myself and my environment.
Yeah.
That's a bit what I experienced in this 2023. I'm gonna work on this on 2022. Sorry, I'm gonna work on this on 2023. That's something that I will plan on purpose. It's not going to be easy, because I know myself. I always try to push extra, but I want to do it long term, right? So it doesn't help me if I forget all the rest. At the end of the year, I have just this what I created, and all the rest is gone. So it doesn't make sense.
We're constantly learning, right? I love earlier in the episode, you said that you actively chose to do something you love, which is a step in the right direction. And then maybe it's a step sideways, that you didn't go to the gym as much, or that you weren't eating as healthy as you were. But I think that's just life. You take 2 steps forward, 1 step sideways, or 1 step backwards. And it's kind of just the game or the dance of life, right? We're all balancing so many different things.
Absolutely. I mean, another crazy example that I could give you, the fact that I travel a lot now with my work, somehow I lost appreciation for holidays. I mean, being 1 week, 2 weeks in one place at the beach, doesn't give me the same amount of satisfaction like it gave me before. So I don't want to lose this, because this is like enjoying life means also going to nice places, being able to relax, to enjoy the moment. For me, this somehow doesn't have the same importance it had before.
Yeah.
I repeat, it's because now I do something I love, so somehow it fulfills me in a different way. But on the other hand, I know that enjoying, leaning back and enjoying is also important. So I'm gonna work a little more on that.
I can relate to you. I think living in the moment is one of the hardest things that an entrepreneur can do, but one of the most important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for anybody listening, is there something that you would recommend for either the end of this year or the very beginning of 2023, whether it's an exercise, journaling, some sort of planning? What would you suggest to someone who's listening to either end the year right or start the year right?
So it depends a bit on what your goals for 2023
So
are.
maybe start with your goals.
Yeah, start with your goals, because I don't want to say I met 45,000 people, but I met many people during these last 2 years, so many more than I ever met before. And of course, setting goals is one of the most important things. Knowing where you want to take your life and not where life takes you, so where you want to take your life, because I strongly believe that we design our life and it's not the opposite. But to do that, you need to really to set your goals.
And when you say goals, let's break it down. Is it 1 month goals, 5 month, 1 year, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, if you have this ability to look that much forward, you can go as far as you want. For me, like 1 year, 5 years, 10 years is what I would do. The breakdown to months and weeks is something that depends a bit what you want to achieve in 1 year. The problem is people underestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and overestimate what they can do in 1 month. And if they don't reach this 1 month's goal, they say, it doesn't work for me, why I'm stopping this. Okay, so I strongly recommend to set a bit more long-term goal. 1 year is already long-term for many people. I would be even surprised if you stop someone on the street today and tell me your goals. What is this? Because people don't have goals. They just live day by day and are really going where life is taking them. So the fact that people finally learn to set goals, to design their life, to plan it on purpose, this is something that I strongly recommend to anyone for 2023. That you journal every day, that you do a to-do list every day. This is just something that brings you to achieve your goals with discipline, with doing the daily needed step that will bring you there. But above all, to not make it too difficult, too complicated, set your goals for 2023. If you have family, if you have a partner, sit down with your partner, set also family goals, because people, they make the mistake. They just think about professional goals, like earning more or ranking up in their company, what it is. But the question that I ask people is, okay, why you want this rank up? Why you want to earn 10K a month? What are you going to do with this money? Why is it important for you? And this why defines the goals that you have, like on a personal level or on a family level. It's, believe me, it's much more important to work on these goals, because money is just what gonna help us to fulfill these goals.
Yeah, I love that answer so much. And just listening to you, I actually have 2 books that came to mind in case anybody has downtime around the holidays or around the new year. I remembered Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Have you read that one?
Yes.
I mean, I agree with you. I think the why behind what you're doing is more important than what you're doing, because if you really stop to think about it, why do you want $40 million? What's the point of having it if you don't know what you're going to do with it, right? Or who you're going to use it on. So I think that's really important. And then the other book that I just recently found is Start at the End. And it's all about business planning. But I think you can use this for anything in life. Like you said, we always think about goals in terms of our careers, but goals in terms of family and relationships and life is also so important. So this book is just all about starting at the end and then moving backwards. If you want to start a company, then what do you want to do at the end? Do you want to sell it? What does it take to sell it? How many sales? How many customers does that mean? Like, and then you just move backwards instead of moving forwards. Because I think a lot of people get stuck on the how do you get to the 1 year goal? And instead, why don't you move backwards?
Yep, that's it.
Just two books that came to mind when you were answering the question.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap it up there, but I want to leave the audience with, this is the New Moon podcast, and it comes out every new moon because we don't want to wait till the new year to start planning and doing and achieving these goals and things like that. So the idea behind this podcast is really to every new moon kind of treat it as a new year, right? So for the next new moon cycle, which is just in 1 month in the end of January, what will you be working on in that period?
So you said something very right in the first episode. I remember that I said that these new moons are like 12 opportunities to improve ourselves during 1 year. The next one is going to be a very special one because it brings us from the old year to the new year, if that means something to someone. As I say, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I wouldn't do that if I were you, because first of all, it doesn't really help. Second of all, I don't know how high the percentage is, but many people won't stick to the New Year's resolution.
There's a high fail rate.
Yeah, high fail rate, right? Because just because we are in a new year, nothing will end or change with our habits. Next weekend I have like my last event for this year, so I'm going to Vienna to see the team there for an event with 200 people. After this, I'll come back and I have 2 weeks that I really want to use to slow down a bit, to reflect. The year 2023 is already planned, so I already know how it's going to be because mentally we just went through it with the team when we were in Barcelona, so we already know what we are going to do. I'm gonna work more on my personal tasks. Okay, and I'm gonna plan my personal tasks. I want to refine my balance again in order to not forget myself as a person. And maybe if you do too much of this, because there is also too much of this, try to work more on your professional tasks for the 2023, because people tend to enjoy too much. So try to be honest with yourself, look a bit where you need more improvement, and work on the planning of 2023 to improve yourself where it's more needed.
Finding that balance, right? The key to life. Well, Sandro, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. This has been so much fun, and I can't wait to continue this podcast in 2023, the new year. Leave us with where to find you on Instagram. And if you like this podcast, please give us a like, a subscribe. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and Sandro on Instagram, which I'll share right now.
Yeah, my profile is still the same. It's Sandro. You just replace the A with the number 7, which is my favorite number.
Amazing. Happy New Year, everybody.